Hi, Algebra 1. This is page 171, 172 worked out. We want to put this in slope-intercept form, so y equals mx plus b. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what my b value is. This is my y-intercept, so the y component, the 3, is my b value. So we're going to plug that in right there. Then we just need to find the slope, so I'm going to go down 1 and right 2. So if I go down 1 and right 2, I'm going to get a slope of negative 1/2. Plug those both in. Don't forget the x. That is my equation to the line. Next problem. Again, we want to plug this into y equals mx plus b. So this is my b value is 1. And then I'm going to find my slope. So I'm going to count up. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So up 4 and over 1, 2, 3. There's my slope. So plug both those values in. So y equals 4/3. Don't forget the x plus 1. At any time, if you have questions about these, let me know. Just raise your hand. I'll come over and help you. This is my y-intercept right here. So my b value is 0. My slope, I'm going to count from this point. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. So my slope is up 3 and right 1, 2. So go ahead and plug into y equals mx plus b. So y equals 3/2. Don't forget the x plus 0. So this answer is totally fine. Or you could write it like this. I would take either one of those answers. They're 100% correct. Number 4, my y-intercept right there, b equals 2. So from here, I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4. So down 4. And then right 1, 2, 3. So again, plug into y equals mx plus b. My slope is negative 4/3. Don't forget the x plus 2 because it's positive 2. That's my equation to my line. Next one says the slope is 2. Well, that means m equals 2, and the y-intercept is negative 7. So plug both of those back into this equation. So y equals 7x. You could have 7/1 if you wanted to, plus negative 7 or just minus 7. Oh, that should have been a 2. That was a 2. I'm sorry. That's my equation. Okay, we know b and m, so y equals mx plus b. Plug those values in. So y equals negative 5/x plus 4. You could have that negative 5/1. Number 7, let me take a look at it. We have to realize, because this is a 0, this is the y-intercept, so that's my b value. So I know my slope is this, because they tell us that. So plug it into y equals mx plus b. Y equals 3/5x plus negative 2 or just minus 2. There's our answer. Okay, now this is not the y-intercept. This is just a point, so I'm going to label this x1 and y1. I'm then going to use my point slope equation, which looks like this. And I'm going to plug my x1 in there and my y1 in there and my slope. So remember when I plug it in, so that's a minus, and then plug the 4 in. Remember the signs are going to change. Notice it was a positive 4 here. It's now a negative 4 here. It's like when you pull it out, you have to change the sign. Slope is 2/3. And then x minus, put the 3 in. Again, remember, this was a positive 3 here. Now it's a negative 3 down here. Number 9, again, this is a point. So I'm going to use my point slope formula. Oh, I forgot to do one thing on this last one. I'm sorry. Let's make this look like y equals mx plus b. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to distribute over the parentheses. So I'm going to get y minus 4. 2/3 times x is 2/3 x minus 2 times 3 is 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Add the 4 to both sides. Now it's all set up for us in slope-intercept form. Negative 2 plus 4 is positive 2. That's the equation we're looking for. Sorry about that. All right, again, on number 9, it's going to look very similar to what we had done. We're going to plug my y1 in. So there's a minus sign. It was a positive 4. It's now a negative 4. My slope is negative 1. And then x minus, I'm going to plug my 9 in. So the 9 plugs in and becomes a negative 9. I want to now make this look like y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to distribute 1 over the parentheses. So negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times 9 is positive 9. Add 1 to both sides. So I'm going to get y equals negative x or negative 1x. It doesn't matter how you want to do it, but that's my equation. Number 10, undefined slope. So remember, this is going to be a vertical line. And remember, vertical lines are always x equals. So the only x value I have is that 4. So that's my equation, x equals 4. There's nothing else you can do to it. All right, we have a slope of 0, so I'm going to use my point slope. Let's plug some things in. So y minus, it was a positive 6, now it's a negative 6. Slope is 0. X minus minus 5, so that's going to become plus 5. Now, if I multiply 0 times this, I'm going to wind up getting this, because 0 times a quantity. Move the 6 over by adding it. So remember, this is one of our special cases. This is a horizontal line. Horizontal lines have slopes of 0. Number 12, this is a y-intercept because that is a 0. So you can just plug into y equals mx plus b. Plug in, our slope is negative 4 over 7. Don't forget the x, plus 3. Your assignment is going to be page 173 and 174. If you want to follow along on those pages, I have the odd answers I will work out for you. All right, so on problem number 1, I guess I'm going to work them all out. So it's your choice if you want to try them and then start the video and take a look at it. So I want to find my slope on both of these. So my slope equation is this. So that's x1, that's y1. That's x2, that's y2. Let's plug in what we know. I got 7 minus 3, 4 minus 2. 7 subtract 3 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So my slope is going to be 2 or 2 over 1. It's your choice how you want to write it. Same thing here, x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug them into our slope equation. So I'm going to get 1 minus 5, 2 minus minus 4. Realize that's positive. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. Reduce. 2 goes into both top and bottom, so it's negative 2 over 3. Number 3, we want to find the slope again. So my slope equation, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. On top, that's going to give me a plus. So negative 8 plus 8 is 0. That's going to give me a plus. 0 over 5, so 0 is on top. My slope has to be 0. If 0 is on bottom, the slope is undefined. Number 4, we want to write the equation. A few things we know. This has to be my b value. It's my b value because I have 0. So eventually we're trying to get to this. I'm going to go ahead and label this x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's figure out the slope. So I'm going to get y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to get 2 minus minus 3, negative 5 minus 0. The minus minus is going to give me a plus, so 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 over negative 5 is equal to negative 1. That's my slope. So now I can plug my slope in. I can plug my y-intercept in. So I'm going to get y equals negative 1, x minus 3. You could have a negative 1 over 1 if you wanted to, but that's our answer. Number 5, this is my b value. It's my y-intercept because that's 0. So we know that so far. So let's use x1, y1, x2, y2. Plug into our slope equation. So that's going to give me negative 7 minus 0 and 0 minus 4. On top, that's going to give me negative 7. On bottom, it's going to give me negative 4. Negative over negative is positive. You can go ahead and plug into y equals mx plus b. So my slope we just found to be 7 over 4. Don't forget the x. My b value we said originally was negative 7. And there's my answer. Number 6, this is written a little bit differently, but realize this gives me the point 6 comma negative 2. This gives me the point 0 comma negative 5. Well, this is my y-intercept. That's my b value because that's 0. Now I have to find my slope, so I have x1, y1, x2, and y2. So my slope equation is this. So let's go ahead and figure that out. So I'm going to get negative 5 minus negative 2, 0 minus 6. The negative negative gives me a positive, so negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3 over negative 6. Negative over negative is positive. 3 over 6 reduces to 1 over 2. There's my slope. Go ahead and plug that into y equals mx plus b. So we found that m is 1/2. Don't forget the x. And my y-intercept is negative 5. There's my equation. Number 7 is done similar. Realize that gives me the point 0, negative 1. This gives me the point 2, negative 1. This is my y-intercept. Okay, that's my b value because that's a 0. Let's figure out our slope. x1, y1, x2, y2. Slope equation is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to get negative 1 minus negative 1 over 2 minus 0. The two negatives give me a positive, so negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 0 over 2 is equal to 0. So I get a slope of 0. Let's go ahead and plug into our point slope. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that is so I can get it. So that's my x1, y1. So remember the values become opposite. That was a negative 1 up there. It's going to be a positive 1 down here. 0 times x minus 0. What's 0 times a quantity? Right, it's 0. So I get y plus 1 equals 0. Move the 1 over. So remember, this is one of my special cases. This is a horizontal line. Remember, horizontal lines have a slope of 0. Number 8, neither one of these is my y-intercept because I don't have a 0 in the x. So I have x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's figure out our slope first. Our slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to get 5 minus negative 3 over 4 minus 2. That's going to give me a positive. So that's 8 over 2. Reduce it, it's 4. So go ahead and keep your slope just as a number. Don't worry about putting it over. Then I'm going to use my point slope equation, which is this. Realize I have x1 and y1, so I'm going to use these values. So y plus 3, because it's negative 3 up there. Slope is 4. X minus, it was a positive 2, now it's a negative 2. Go ahead and distribute over the parentheses. Subtract 3 from both sides. So y equals 4x minus 11. Number 9, I do not have the y-intercept. I do have a 0 on the y spot, but that's not the y-intercept. So I'm going to go x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's find our slope. So we have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to get negative 10 minus 0, 5 minus 1. So that's going to give me negative 10 over 4, which reduces to negative 5 over 2 because 2 goes into both top and bottom. There's my slope. I'm going to use my point slope. This is x1 and y1. That's how I have it labeled. So I'm going to get y minus 0 equals negative 5 over 2, x minus 1, Well, y minus 0 is just y. Distribute this over, so negative 5 halves times x, negative 5 halves x. Negative times negative is positive. 5 halves times 1 is 5 halves. That would not be a nice one to graph. Okay, x1, y1. Okay, number 10. Neither one's our x-intercepts, so we're just going to label this x1, y1, x2, y2. My slope is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's going to give me 13 minus 3 over 2 minus 7, which is going to give me positive 10 on top, excuse me, over negative 5. That reduces to negative 2. So I have a slope of negative 2. I'm going to use my point slope equation, which is this. That's my x1, y1. So I'm going to get y. It's a positive 3. Now it's a negative 3. My slope is negative 2. That's a positive 7, so it's not going to be negative 7. Go ahead and distribute the negative 2 over the parentheses. So I'm going to get y minus 3 equals negative 2x plus 14. Add 3 to both sides. So my equation is going to be y equals negative 2x plus 17. Number 11, neither one of those is my y-intercept, so I'm going to label this x1, y1, x2, y2. My slope is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to go 6 minus 3, negative 2 minus minus 1. Remember, that's going to give me a positive on bottom, so 6 minus 3 is 3. 2 plus 1 is negative 1, so my slope is negative 3. Go ahead and plug into my point slope. That's my x1, y1. Let's plug those in. Y minus 3, or it's a positive 3 up here. It's going to be a minus 3 here. Slope is negative 3. X, that's a negative 1. It's now going to be a positive 1 down here. Let's distribute negative 3 over the parentheses. Add 3 to both sides. So that's going to give me y equals negative 3x plus 0. Or you could write it y equals negative 3x. It's your choice. Both answers are correct. Number 12, neither one of those is my y-intercept because I don't have a 0 on the x spot. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's plug. So I'm going to get 12 minus minus 2, 4 minus 4. That's going to give me a plus on top, so that's 14 over 0. 14 over 0 is undefined. So remember, undefined is a vertical line. Undefined is always x equals. Well, let's take a look at both my x's. They're the exact same, so x equals 4 is the only answer that works. And then number 13, they gave us a slope. Label this x1 and y1. Use point slope to go ahead and start doing this. Let's plug our values in. That's a positive 2, so it's a negative 2 down here. My slope is negative 2. This is a positive 5. It's now a negative 5 down here. Let's distribute negative 2 over the parentheses. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. Add 2 to both sides. So y equals negative 2x plus 12. And that's everything. I hope you have a nice couple of days off. I hope you can just spend some time with friends and family. On Monday, we will start up with a new lesson. So take care of one another. Have a nice day.